Russian forces in Ukraine have lost 54 tanks and more than 4,400 soldiers since Sunday, according to data released Friday by Kiev's military. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported that in addition to 4,410 casualties, Russia also lost 100 armored fighting vehicles, 137 artillery systems, and 143 drones during the same period. According to Ukraine's tally, Russia has lost a total of 479,710 troops since Russian President Vladimir Putin launched his invasion on February 24, 2022. Putin's military has also lost 7,434 tanks, 14,813 armored fighting vehicles, and 9,826 drones during the course of the war. Tallies for Russian casualties have been difficult to confirm throughout the war, and Ukraine's figures are higher than many other estimates. The Kremlin rarely releases its own numbers, and when it does, the figures are thought to be undercounted. Kiev's latest figures on Russian losses come as Putin's forces launched a new cross-border offensive into northeastern Ukraine on Friday. Military analysts have said the new offensive could signal the start of a new major operation from Moscow's military. The Associated Press, AP, reported that Kharkiv's regional governor, Oleh Syniehubov, said overnight strikes hit the city of Vovchansk, which lies approximately 3 miles from the Russian border. The barrage, which used powerful guided aerial bombs, artillery, rockets, tanks, and mortars, killed at least 1 civilian and wounded 5 others, prompting authorities to begin evacuating about 3,000 people, the AP wrote. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry said Russian infantry attempted to break through Kiev's defenses near Vovchansk, but they were reportedly met with Ukrainian reserve units. In a Friday address, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said his military will deploy additional forces to Kharkiv. Today, Russian troops tried to expand operations against Ukraine. We are aware of the size of the invaders' forces and see their plan. Our soldiers, our artillery, our drones are retaliating against the invaders, Zelensky said, according to a translation by Ukrainian media outlet, Ukrainska Pravda. I am grateful to each of our soldiers, each sergeant, each officer who are defending our positions in the best way possible. The president continued, we are adding more troops to Kharkiv fronts. Both along our state border and along the entire front line, we will invariably destroy the invaders to disrupt any Russian offensive intentions. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby on Friday acknowledged to reporters that the attacks at Ukraine's northeastern border may be the beginning of a larger offensive. It is certainly possible that the Russians are setting themselves up for a larger assault on Kharkiv, Kirby said. It is very interesting and certainly concerning that they now appear to be setting themselves up to, at the very least, use long-range fires to try to range into Kharkiv. And one has to presume that you're not going to do that if you're not also thinking about some other larger assault directly on the city. Russian forces launched a new cross-border offensive into northeastern Ukraine early on Friday, Kiev announced, in what may mark the beginning of a new major operation, imperiling the country's second-largest city of Kharkiv. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry said the attack was repelled, but that battles of varying intensity are ongoing at several points along the border with reserves deployed. The defense forces of Ukraine continue to hold back the enemy's offensive, the ministry wrote on Telegram. It said that the assault was preceded by a series of airstrikes and increased artillery fire before an attempt by the enemy to break through our defense line under the cover of armored vehicles at around 5 a.m. local time. The effort was focused on the area around the border town of Vovchan, the ministry said, which sits some 30 miles northeast of Kharkiv. The evacuation of civilians in the area is now underway. The pro-Kiev Deep State Telegram channel, which maps battlefield developments, said Russian forces are trying to enter and gain a foothold in a number of settlements along the border. The available resources used by the enemy at the moment will not be enough for a deep advance, Deep State wrote. Currently, the situation is such that the enemy is destabilizing the border areas, but it is not known how many main forces he is ready to use for this maneuver. Ukrainian analyst Taras Berezovets wrote on Telegram that not a single meter has been lost. The enemy group does not pose a threat to Kharkiv. Its forces are sufficient only for provocations in the northern direction. Pro-war Russian military bloggers suggested that the drive may be intended to set the stage for the taking of Kharkiv, or simply to sow panic among the more than 1 million residents of the city.
Заряд уменьшенный, снаряд 59. Навести и зарядить по готовности один снаряд огонь.
Уровень 1, уменьшенный 59-й осколочный, по готовности 1.
Второй, сразу второй. Заряжен. Орудие! Выстрел!